Good. Hold on, wait. Let me start real quick. Good Wednesday evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. Hopefully, one has had a fantastic Wednesday so far. I am your meteorologist, Peterson. Let's go on and talk about the weather for your Wednesday evening going into your future. So, my apologies for being late tonight, like extremely late. My computer has been having issues ever since I started it up around like 8:40ish. Um, and when I started up, my Ethernet cord decided to not work. Then I come on here and it logged me out of all my accounts, so I had to go back in and log in. My speakers, for some reason, didn't want to work. And then when I want to play my songs, apparently some of the songs just don't want to play. So that's why I had to play the same song twice. So, has not been a fantastic end of my day, but the rest of the day was good, so that's all that matters. So, but enough about my day. Let's go on and talk about the weather. Starting off, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about tonight? Obviously, we have a lot of stuff. Obviously, with Tropical Storm Aaron about to turn into Hurricane Aaron. We also do have flash flooding that will continue. And then also, those higher temperatures, you felt them today. There were heat advisories that were out for the coastal low country from Charleston County all the way down into southeastern Georgia. So, for the most part, it's looking like that those high temperatures are going to be here for a good little bit. We talked about them for sure yesterday. But with that out the way, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button, make sure you go and do so. We are at 569 subscribers, trying to get to 600. We are 31. We are 31 subscribers away. We are 31 subscribers away. So let's go on and get there. Starting off with our current radar conditions right now. If my radar wants to come up here, that would be fantastic. It does. Starting off here, you can see the time. We cannot see the time, but you can see it at the top part of the screen of when it was last updated. But we do have some rainfall going on right now over here inside of the upstate of South Carolina, moving on over here into the western portions along that South Carolina-Georgia border. Also down over here towards Allendale, going down over towards Newington, Georgia, right there on that border right there again with South Carolina and Georgia. And then over here down in Savannah, rainfall is going on down over there, also near Hilton Head Island as well. What's going on throughout the entire United States, though? Rainfall going on in the Northeast. The Northeast has been relatively dry for the past couple of days, and now there's some rainfall moving in from Maine all the way down through Vermont, down through Pennsylvania. Rainfall going on in Kentucky, as well as North Carolina, Georgia for sure, Alabama getting some rainfall, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Florida. And then if we move over here to the central U.S., severe thunderstorm warnings are out. For over here inside of South Dakota and Nebraska, rainfall goes from Montana down into the Four Corners region and Nevada. As we move into our cloud cover right now overall is relatively on the clear side. Yes, you do have some cloud cover down there, like in the lower low country, and also over there near Augusta, and maybe even up there in the upstate. But other than that, there's nothing else really going on there in terms of like widespread cloud cover activity going from the Midlands all the way over into the PD and Grand Strand. And if you look at cloud cover for the future, as you go on and push this forward, you can see that cloud cover again will start to spread. It will spread a little bit more, so it won't technically be clear, this clear forever, but we'll get right back into those cloudy conditions as we go through tomorrow. Now for our current temperature, it's still hot out there. 83 in Columbia as well as 82 in Orangeburg, 82 in Somerville as well as 82 in Sumter, 80 inside of Hartsville, 81 in Florence, not 90, but 80 also inside of Conway, 82 in Myrtle Beach, and 82 in Merle's Only, 81 in Georgetown, 82 in Charleston as well as 82 in Greenwood, 83 in Aiken as well as 79 in Clemson, 80 in Anderson, 81 in Spartanburg, 82 in Gaffney, 81 in York and Rock Hill. For your low temperatures for tonight, 72 in Anderson, Greenville, Spartanburg, going into Rock Hill, going into Winnsboro, 74 in Columbia, 75 in Orangeburg, 74 inside of Walterboro, and 78 in Charleston, 75 in Moncks Corner, and 75 in Georgetown, 77 in Myrtle Beach, and 78 in Hilton Head Island. Now for your rainfall, a good amount of rainfall is possible as we move through tonight. 100th of an inch to a tenth of an inch goes for Myrtle Beach, goes for Charleston, goes for some other regions as well that may not be highlighted, like Winnsboro is another one of them. But a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch goes for Hilton Head Island. It goes for Georgetown, for Moncks Corner, goes for Florence, goes for Camden, Columbia is included, Lawrence is included, and Spartanburg and Rock Hill is included. Quarter of an inch to a half an inch goes for Orangeburg, goes for Sumter, and even up there inside of Greenville and Greenwood. And then potentially even a half an inch to an inch is also possible for places like Newberry, Aiken, Barnwell, and Cheraw. An inch to an inch and a half, if not 2 inches, possible up there inside of the Horry County region. But, I mean, that can go anywhere throughout that region. But for the most part, I'd say mostly in that region. And then you also do have that chance for potentially even up to 3 inches of rainfall as possible with some showers / storms that move through. And I say every single time that you can look at these totals and kind of base it, but again, just at the end of the day, it's going to be just random at that point. Obviously a lot of these might not be correct, but that's just how these showers and storms work, especially during the summertime, to where you think it's going to rain in this region, but it ends up not raining at all. But that's usually how it goes, and you might even over exceed the rainfall that you can see here on this map as well. The crazy score, we are at a 27 for tonight, mainly because of the cloudy conditions returning. That also goes for still some scattered shower activity, and that flood risk that is still there for now. Patchy fog is also likely as we move through tonight. Now for the SPC outlook, you can see that we do in fact have a thunderstorm risk. It again goes through the entire state as we speak, and that will not change. As the new update came out, they have not done anything with it. For tomorrow, same thing. Thunderstorms are possible for the entire state of South Carolina, and same thing for Friday. Thunderstorms are possible for the entire state. For excessive rainfall, we do in fact have a risk for some excessive rainfall for now. It's looking like we do have a slight risk up here inside of all of the upstate. Goes into the northern PD region some as well. That's for scattered flash flooding if you're in the yellow for tonight. If you're in the green, you have a chance for some isolated flash flooding. That's from McCormick all the way through Columbia, through all the way to Florence, to Myrtle Beach, Georgetown, and the very eastern low country like Berkeley and Charleston County is inside of that risk for some isolated flash flooding. Now for tomorrow, the slight risk goes away, but there still is a margin of risk that is there that goes all the way from Greenville all the way down towards Myrtle Beach, Georgetown, and Moncks Corner and Barnwell, while other regions of the low country stay relatively out of it. That's for isolated flash flooding for tomorrow. For day 3, this is for Friday. Friday, we do have another isolated flash flood risk. For Friday, the entire state is included in that one. Then as we go into Saturday, the entire state has, again, another chance for some isolated flash flooding. And then for day 5, which is Sunday, we finally get a little bit of a break, and no excessive rainfall is expected for Sunday for now, but that can change. That's all I wanted to say, though, for excessive rainfall. Let's go on now and talk about the model. So the time is in the top right corner of your screen. Make sure that you're paying attention to that. Starting off here at 9 o'clock p.m., you can see this is a pretty accurate representation of what's going on throughout the state. If you go in and continue to push this forward, though, you can see that rainfall will relatively still be on that isolated to scattered side. You're not really seeing too much, especially up there in the upstate, to where it potentially will probably be the most scattered / numerous, if that makes sense. So more scattered / numerous shower and thunderstorm activity in the upstate, definitely more than the Midlands and especially the low country. As you continue through all the way to 10 to 11 to 12 p.m., you can see by noon tomorrow that we do have some more rainfall activity that moves through, goes through the low country in the afternoon, goes through the Midlands in the afternoon, goes through parts over there near Myrtle Beach in the afternoon. And if you even go further into the future as well, by 2, 3, 4 p.m., look at all this rainfall starting to congeal together, and that's also going to aid in that minor flooding threat tomorrow, as all of these showers and storms move through. And they will push through, and all these storms will have the chance for some gusty winds as well. Even though it's not really modeled by the Storm Prediction Center, but I have seen some National Weather Service offices talking about how there is a potential for some severe storms to occur, even though, like I said, it's not included. It's not really forecasted. If we go on and continue to push this in the future, though, you can see that rainfall will actually start to die out a lot by like 12 o'clock in the morning, and that's not really too much of a surprise. And we stay relatively dry. I mean, all throughout, this is Thursday night going into Friday morning. We stay relatively on the dry side for most of the morning on Friday. And so that's going to be a good thing. It's going to be dry. And then even at the afternoon, this is 2 p.m. right here. Look at this. You're not seeing any sort of rainfall. Now, this can change, but it looks like we might have our first actual dry start, not only throughout all the morning, but even parts of the afternoon as well for in a good little bit. So that's something just to look out for Friday, and that would make room definitely for a great Friday. And you can even see right here from the GFS, this is the lower resolution one. I can even show this one as well. The NAM shows a little bit of a different story. I mean, it shows rainfall. Even, it doesn't show it too much in the morning, but the NAM does show some rainfall as you go like into the afternoon, though, later. So, I mean, yes, it's definitely possible that we might see some rainfall later. But for now, it's looking like it's going to be a nice dry start. And we'll continue to see how we'll continue to monitor that and see how it plays out, though, as we continue, especially into tomorrow night. But now let's go on now and talk about the long-term futures, like the next 300 to 400 hours or so. You can see that rainfall really starting to get going the next day, though, on August the 16th. And by that time, you can see a high pressure takes over, and it will cause us to have some good conditions, especially I've been talking about the 18th and the 19th since around yesterday, possibly maybe moved up a day, maybe the 17th and the 18th for now. But high pressure takes over. It's going to make it relatively on the drier side for that part. And if you continue all the way into August the 21st, so a low pressure gets here and drops some rainfall on us around the 21st, the 22nd through to the 25th. And you're not seeing too much right now. I mean, you do get to around the 26th, which we can't go really too much further than that. But high pressure takes over, and we've been talking about how the end of August could potentially look a lot less active, and it's looking more and more likely, or at least more and more consistent as we continue through. And so, again, low resolution model, and again, over 300 hours out, but just something to watch for. Going on now, since we are done with that, I do want to talk about the temperatures as well. I mean, I know we've been talking about them for a good little bit, and we know it's going to be above average, but I just want to show them one real quick, just for like a minute or so, just to really show you that temperatures are really starting to get back up there. And yes, you will have some cool portions. I mean, you can see cool air kind of getting in there just a little bit, but but the warm air technically still prevails a lot more. And even as you get into around August the 24th, going through to like the 25th and the 26th. But I was talking about yesterday potential for a cool down, though, as we go later into August. But one thing that I do want you to look at is if you go to yesterday, believe is when I saw this. It was either yesterday or the day before. Yeah, right here. So you can see all this cool air right here on August the 21st. This was yesterday's run. Now look at today's run. A complete shift just in terms of what we could potentially be looking at for the end of the month. And so it's kind of still inconsistent right now, but this was yesterday. This is what they were forecasting in terms of below average temperatures. I mean, 12 to 16 degrees, maybe even lower than that, degrees below average on August the 21st. If we go to today, it's now saying it's going to be 6 to 8 degrees above average. So a huge shift. This is the same time, August the 21st. So we may have a bit of a more warmer end of August than we were anticipating for, because that is obviously a very huge flip to go. I mean, to go around 27 degrees higher in 24 hours is definitely something that's definitely more common once you get towards like the longer time frame, like 300 to 400 hours. But I mean, this is only 190 hours away, so that's a huge flip right there. But that's what I wanted to talk about, though, for just the models, though. Let's go on and talk about the tropics now, because we obviously have Tropical Storm Erin out here, and Tropical Storm Erin actually did try to intensify a little bit. You can go in and look at the satellite right now while I talk about it. It is indeed a 50 mile per hour storm. Now it was at around 45 for like the past couple of days now, but they finally updated it to 50 miles per hour. Its central pressure right now is 1,001 millibars, and it is traveling west at 17 miles per hour. And the discussion on it says locally heavy rainfall, high surf and rip currents, and tropical storm force winds could occur in portions of the northern Leeward Islands, also the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico this weekend, as the core of Erin passes north of these islands. Interest in these areas should continue to monitor. While there is still uncertainty on what impacts may occur in portions of the Bahamas and the east coast of the United States and Bermuda next week, the risk of dangerous surf and rip currents across the western Atlantic basin next week is increasing as we approach the climatological peak of hurricane season. This is an opportune time to ensure your preparedness plans are in place. So that's what they're talking about right now. Still too far out for us, but for other people, it's obviously getting a lot closer. And this is what the latest cone says right here. Still, like I said, tropical storm. It's going to become a hurricane either tomorrow night or Friday morning. It's going to be one of those two time frames. Right now, they're looking at 2 a.m. on Friday, but that can change. And it's expected to become a major hurricane by 2 o'clock p.m. on Sunday, or just sometime in the afternoon on Sunday is when it's expected to become a major hurricane. Now, you can still see this cone over here, and the kind of like the non-filled in portion of it. And it's starting to curve a lot more to the north and east, which is what we were expecting, obviously. But you can see that it still has a little bit of a western portion to it, because, I mean, the storm could still go up this way, could still go up towards North Carolina, still could go up towards Bermuda. Again, it could go either of these ways still, but we're still just too far out to say. I think once we get to this weekend, for sure, we will most likely know where it will go by this weekend, especially by early next week, like Monday. So we will know for sure what the impact should be for us by that time frame, though. But it is still obviously the middle of the week. So this is the hurricane models right here. Most of them, again, have it curving. You have a couple of outliers right here that kind of have it going more to the west, but most of them still have it curving up north. Look at the GFS one. You have a couple that, again, straggle towards the U.S. coast, but most of them, for the most part, is going up to the north and east. Is for the GFS one, the one that we look at. The intensity guidance right here, it expected, obviously, to get to at least a Category 1, most likely that Category 2/3. But some potentially think it will get up to a Category 4, which, in my opinion, I think is possible. But a Category 5, it's possible. It's possible, especially if models are saying that it is. But, you need a lot, like I said, you need a lot of things to go right if you want a Category 5. So, but we'll just see what happens there, though. Let me go on and check this one out real quick. This is the Euro. And this one is the one that we look at with like the models pretty much everywhere. If we go on and go to the loop right here, we're going to stop it. We're going to go back a little bit. And you can see that it has a little bit of a shift west. If you look at it right here, you can see that a lot are still kind of over here in this main region, but look how much you have going east and look how much you have going west. So this one, for the most part, it mostly gets reliable like through this area where my cursor is right here, but then after that it kind of just starts to go all over the place. So that's why we're still saying we're still watching this, because it could still take this track right here. Like you see this pink one over here, it could take that track easily. It could take that track up into North Carolina. It could take this track all the way over here near Bermuda. But time will tell. That's pretty much just all at least the ensembles together. If you want to look at any individual ones, just in general, if you go over here to the Western Atlantic, you can go right here. We're going to start with the GFS first. This one kind of has it moving over a bit toward like right in between Bermuda and the U.S. coastline, but it definitely does impact Bermuda at least a little bit, right under that 168-hour mark or that 174-hour mark. If we look at what it was like yesterday, it was all the way up here. Well, actually, you can't even see it on the map. That's how far east it was at this time frame. Look at it today, though. It's a lot further west. A lot further west. And it's going to keep on jumping like that. So, but that just really tells you that there's a lot of scenarios that this thing could still do. This is the Euro right here, significantly closer to the U.S. coast on August the 20th, and tries to get up there and get a piece of North Carolina around 162 hours out as a hurricane for sure. Moving on to the ECAI model, this one again tries to get close to North Carolina, and gets kind of close to South Carolina, but for the most part, still a bit relatively offshore. And again, a little bit further west. The CMC, this one is probably the most furthest east, unless the icon is more east, which it seems to not be. So one thing that I will say again is that this thing could definitely go west a lot more than what the National Hurricane Center is saying, or it can go a lot more east than what they're saying right now in terms of their median track right now. But other than that, there's nothing else really for me to say here. Just make sure that your hurricane plans are in place. We do have another area though. Or another concern as well, where even if Aaron does not hit us, directly, rip currents, and high surf as well will also be a problem, even if Aaron doesn't get too close to us at all. So you still have to be keeping in track of that as well, because even if it does not hit us directly, it still will give us some conditions over there, at least for the coastal regions. But that's all that I have really for Aaron. There is one over here as well, disturbance 1. This is now Invest 98L. A broad area of low pressure area has formed from a tropical wave over the Yucatan Peninsula with disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity. This low is forecast to move west-northwest across the southwestern Gulf overnight. Where environmental conditions are marginally conducive for further development, this system has forecast to move inland over northeastern Mexico by late Friday, ending its chances for development. So no threat for this one at all. No threat with this one at all. At least for us, but over there in Mexico, obviously they have some stuff to maybe try and look for. Let me go on now and talk with the live audience, because that is the next thing on our agenda to talk about, or to talk with. Also, please make sure to go in and vote inside the poll, because I really do want to know. The answers to that poll, because I've been seeing a lot of people debate about it, and I did want to know, and was kind of concerned to see what people inside my own audience would say. So go on and vote inside that. Starting off with Mr. Chris, he says, good evening everyone, good evening everyone from Monk's Corner. Had a lot of thunder and lightning, but no rain. Well, first off, thank you so much for that weather update. And again, I don't think I got any rain here. But there was lightning and thunder. There was for sure lightning and thunder, but it did not rain at my house, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check real quick before. Yes, it did rain at my house. But I don't think it was earlier. I think it was around 5:30. Yeah, so it was some heavy rainfall, but I think by the time the lightning and thunder moved through, it wasn't raining during that time frame. Terrell says, greetings everyone, greetings to you. Hot day here. That is true. It is a hot day. It was a hot day here today. My Aunt Shirley says, good evening to all. Good evening to you. Mr. Chris says, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe button. Also hit the share button. It helps the channel grow for those who need this vital information. Help a neighbor out. That is certainly true. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button, make sure you go and do so. We've had 42 people tune in tonight. We have had 42 people tune in tonight. I have no idea why we only have 8 likes here. We have 42 people tune in, and we only have 8 likes. I don't know what's going on there. 34 people decided to come in and just not hit the like button at all. So if you're part of that 34 people, that did not come and hit the like button, just go on and do so. And hit the share button as well. And guaranteed some probably aren't subscribed either. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Thad says, good evening, if I trust all as well. All is okay. All is okay. Pretty decent day here today. Not too hot and perfect. Not too hot and perfect. Overcast for the better part of the day. That is fantastic to hear that you got some good overcast over there and not too hot. Mr. Kristen says, finally got a chance to get my grass today. It was very hot. That is true. That is true. My Aunt Lula then says, good evening, everyone. I need to mow the lawn in the morning. Will there be any rainfall? Thanks for your outstanding reporting. I'll talk about that in just a second. Let me go on and finish off with the audience real quick. My Nana says, hello, Jay. Plenty of rain today. Several times my relatives that went to Chicago are now headed back to Louisiana and Mississippi right now. I hope that rain is not too bad. I'll go on and check that as well. We'll go on and check that as well. Ms. Chris then also says my weather radio went off this afternoon for a flood warning for the Sandy River until further notice. Yes, that is there right now. That is indeed there right now. I'm over here for the Sandy River over here near Jamestown, and over here along eastern Berkeley County. That says, send me all the rain that you guys don't want, please. There's no need in you guys stockpiling it, and send some of that thunder and crackling lightning. If I could, I would, but it was only 100th of an inch. It was only I believe 500ths of an inch. So I guess rain is rain. Rain is rain. So if I can catch some, I definitely will try to mail it. I will try to mail it though. Then my cousin Cheryl then says, good evening, weatherman. I hope all is well. I have my sister and brother listening to your weather. They are so proud of you, as I love you, Cheryl. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much to your sister and brother for listening to me tonight. I do appreciate you. Thad then said, I hope that storm stays away from Jamaica. It's going to stay relatively on the northern side of it. It's going to stay relatively on like the northern side of it. Like you can see again the cone right here. For it, because Jamaica is, or maybe I'm thinking about the wrong place real quick, hold on. No, Jamaica's down here, so no, Jamaica's not going to get impacted by that. I do apologize for that. I was thinking Jamaica was in where Puerto Rico was. I don't know why I thought about that, but no, Jamaica will not be impacted by this storm. But that's all that there is for the chat, so let me go on real quick, because we had a couple of requests to talk about. I need to mow the lawn in the morning. Will there be any rainfall? I can go ahead and check that out real quick. We're going to start off over here for the HRRR. And if we go into like the morning hours though, especially over here in the PD region or Grand Strand region, for the morning, no, it looks relatively dry. I definitely would get out and try and get it done. As the models now aren't saying anything, if we even go to the one about an hour ago, see what that one says. That one does not show too much either. So yeah, I try to get it done, see what you can do. But if it does end up, raining, which, I mean, it's pretty unlikely, but even if it does, I think that you'll probably get enough done, or a good amount done. And then we also got a request that was to go on and check and see what's going on. Let me see where it was for. It was for plenty of rain from that went to Chicago or headed back to Louisiana, Mississippi right now. If I go in and scroll my way up real quick, most of the rainfall is in Louisiana, Mississippi right now. Tennessee has some, but in Illinois it's fine. Arkansas, Missouri, it's fine. The western side of Kentucky looks fine. The only places that are receiving the rain and the storms is Louisiana and Mississippi for the most part. So if they're already out of there, then they're mainly in the clear. I mean, you never can rule out any sort of isolated shower activity, but for the most part, most of that storm activity is not in that area. But that's it for what's going on for the chat for tonight. So I will go on and check out the poll in just a second. But before we get to the poll, let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. That being San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, also Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and then Duncan, Oklahoma, because we have people from those locations that are currently listening right now. I believe about everyone is here, if not most are here right now listening. So let's go on and talk about them first. Starting off with San Antonio being the first one with low temperatures tonight, 78. High temperatures tomorrow. High temperatures tomorrow will be at 100, and low temperatures tomorrow night will be at 77. There is indeed a slight chance of thunderstorms tonight. There also, unless let me check real quick, unless they got rid of it. It says before 10 p.m., so it is still there. So you still have a slight chance of thunderstorms tonight. No threat for tomorrow, though. No severe weather is expected either. And then in terms of excessive rainfall, I do not believe you have any threat for when you said it. Well, yes, you do actually for tonight. I do apologize for that. Tonight, you do have a chance for some minor flooding for the most part. But again, it's only isolated. It's nothing really that you should be too concerned for, even though, again, I guess technically flash flooding is still flash flooding. So I'm not going to say really too much on that. But continuing on with Raleigh, low temperatures tonight at 73, high temperatures tomorrow at 85, low temperatures tomorrow night at 73, and then a chance of thunderstorms tonight, and then showers are likely tomorrow, chance of thunderstorms also tomorrow night as well. For severe weather, there is no severe weather that is expected, and then for Raleigh, North Carolina, in terms of excessive rainfall, and since severe weather was already just talked about, there is indeed a chance for tonight for some isolated flash flooding going into tomorrow as well, and then also going into Friday as well. But then Saturday and Sunday, you finally get a little bit of a break for that excessive rainfall, so that is a good thing there. Now, for the next location, that being Philadelphia, we have low temperatures tonight at 74. High temperatures tomorrow will be at 88, and low temperatures tomorrow night, that should be 72. But there is showers are likely. Showers are likely as you move through tonight, and I think it's for some reason still loading in, but showers are likely tonight, and then we also do have a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow during the day as well. There should not be that fog threat there. Again, I've been receiving computer issues for for the majority of tonight, so I do apologize if some of the graphics still aren't updating like they should be. But for the most part, I still have it on this side right here, so I can see it fine on my side. But it says showers are likely tonight, chance of thunderstorms tomorrow during the day, and then there is a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow night as well. So chance of thunderstorms goes all the way through tomorrow into tomorrow night. Now, for excessive rainfall, you do not have a threat for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but tonight and on Thursday, you do have a threat for some excessive rainfall, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all looks good. And then for for severe weather as well. For severe weather, there is indeed no threat for any sort of severe weather, so you are good there for severe weather for the most part, but that excessive rainfall is still there. And then the final location being Duncan, Oklahoma, with low temperature. You can't see it on your screen. Low temperatures tonight at 72. High temperatures tomorrow at 97. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 75. No precipitation is expected here at all. There is no precipitation that is expected at all. And then for severe weather, no severe weather is expected. And then for excessive rainfall, there is indeed no excessive rainfall that is expected either. So, with all that out the way, what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise? Gusty winds and low relative humidity will bring critical fire weather conditions to parts of the Great Basin, interior Northwest, and the Rockies on Thursday. Red flag warnings have been issued. While there is still uncertainty of what impacts might occur to the U.S. East Coast next week, the risk of dangerous surf and rip currents across the western Atlantic Basin is increasing. So they are still talking about, especially that those rip currents, the thing that I've been talking about pretty much for today, and then also for yesterday as well. So that is something that we do have to watch for, especially even if we don't get main impacts. We do have a couple of pictures to show This first one right here was from Mr. Chris. This was on Monday. This was storm moving in at 9:50 a.m. This is a storm moving in at 9:50 a.m. Let me see if I can go and get it. That right there. So this is a storm moving in at 9:50 in the morning. It doesn't even look like 9:50. This looks almost like kind of going into like the evening time, or like either before sunset or just probably before sunset. It looks like, at least to me, that's what it looks like, or just sometime in just like the late afternoon in general. But yeah, so I would not guess that would be the morning time though. And then Thad sent me this other one. He said this is one side of my house and the other is on the other side of my house. I'm a bit confused. I'm looking at 50/50. Let me go in and check it out right here. So yes, this is one side of his house right here. You can see, pretty nice. Pretty nice. There's not a whole lot going on right now. And then if you go into his backyard, which I believe is his backyard or side yard, it's completely different story with cloud cover all the way over there on the other side. And so this may just be a storm rolling in, or a storm passing by, or just a storm going away for the most part. So while you have this storm, or at least cloud cover from over here, you have nice conditions over here on the west side, or the left side or the right side, or whichever side it is. That's all the pictures that I got. So if you want to send in some pictures, you can by sending them to scweather360@gmail.com. Again, that is scweather360@gmail.com. Make sure, again, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button, make sure you go in and do so. We're at 570 subscribers, trying to get to 630 subscribers away. And we are 5 subscribers away from 575, which would be the 3/4 of the goal there. The poll, I said, which would you rather have? 90-degree humidity or 90-degree weather with 99% humidity, or 115-degree weather, no humidity? And I'm actually very shocked. I am actually very shocked because I for sure thought that the 115-degree weather with no humidity sure would have blown 90-degree weather with 99% humidity out the park. But I was wrong. If I was to have it myself, I would say 115-degree weather with no humidity, just because if you have humidity added in with it on the side, I mean, no matter if you go into shade or not, it's still going to be hot. It's still going to be like muggy out there. But if it's dry, that will bring some more fire concern. But if it's dry, we get in the shade and it's going to be relatively cooler. So, but that's just me though. That's what I think. So, but I actually am very shocked though. I'm very shocked. That's all that I have for tonight. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Thursday morning forecast update. And also, congratulations for making it to Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Yes, but that's all I wanted to say there. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Thursday morning forecast update. Make sure that you're there. And if you're here tonight for the first time, make sure that you're back tomorrow night, 9 o'clock p.m., because we will be talking about the drought monitor. The drought monitor comes out tomorrow.